what data engineering is, basically the introduction to data engineering. Let me just get my slides. Now, okay.
Abubakar, there's only a little bit of echo. I think you can go ahead, maybe just a little bit closer to the laptop, but the sound is pretty decent.
I didn't get what you said, Aaron.
The sound is pretty decent. It's just a little bit faint. So if you just get closer to the laptop, it should be fine. Maybe your cat is sitting on the microphone.
Is it better now?
Yeah, it's okay now. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, cool. Can you guys see my screen?
It's not really.
Now?
It's a Firefox icon.
Oh, maybe I shared the wrong one.
It's showing Disney.com.
No, we are not watching that today. Just give me a few minutes. Okay. Home screen. Build in. There we go. Now this should work. All right. Okay. Now.
Yeah, perfect.
Nice. Okay, so basically what we are going to be talking about is data engineering, and then we'll be entertaining questions as regarding the challenge that has been given up to you and some other questions you might have. So the goal of this week is to get you to data engineering level 0, where we are expecting you to know what data engineering is and what it entails, what you need to do to complete a data engineering project, and what a data engineering project looks like. So for Kickstart, my name is Abubakar. I am one of the tutors for for Tenacre Batch 4. Okay, so what is data engineering? As you can see from my screen, data engineering is a process of moving data from one source to another, e.g. moving Twitter data, which is residing in a NoSQL database, to an S3 bucket or to a file storage system where you have on your system, and you store all of this data in a particular database, in a uniform database. So data engineering is like the plumbing work of data science. So they deal with moving data from one source to the other. So when it gets to the other source, then it is used for many other things that you might want it, that you might want to use it for. Now, who is a data engineer? A data engineer delivers correct data to the right people in the right form as effectively as possible. What this is saying is that a data engineer is required to write a program or a script or a workflow that gets data from a particular data store, clean the data, present it in a neat form, and then give it to the right people. The right people could be a data analyst for analyzing the data, or a data scientist for building the model, or a machine learning engineer to automate a particular model phase or something. So that is what a data engineer do. Building a data pipeline. A data pipeline, as you see, is a set of actions that ingest raw data from disparate sources and move the data for storage and analysis. So what this is saying is that a data can be stored or is residing somewhere. For instance, a Twitter data that is residing in the Twitter data store, which is a NoSQL data store. So a data pipeline can be written to complete all of these tasks in the sense that we have a data store, which is the Twitter and then we write a particular Spark job or a Python script to get the data from Twitter and then clean the data into a particular CSV file, and then from the CSV file we read it into our MySQL databases, and then we write a MySQL connector to use Streamlit for dashboarding or for visualization or for modeling or for analyzing the data so that we can get some insights into it. That is what a data pipeline is. So a data pipeline is like a workflow or an orchestration that collects data from a particular place and puts it in a neat form in another storage location so that it can be used for further analysis or processes. In our challenge, we are using Twitter data, and then for us to get the Twitter data, we have completed a data engineering task of querying the Twitter database, collecting the data, parsing it, and then storing it as a JSON file, which is now available to you for you to clean the data and then put it in a neat CSV for further analysis, which we will be introduced to in the subsequent days of the week 0 challenge. We have the Twitter data in the JSON format that has been provided to you, and then the steps we have took in order to get this data is we have requested an API from the Twitter developers account. We have used the TweetP library, which is like a communicator between the Twitter API as well as the data that we want to get, and then we have used this to communicate to the Twitter database and then get the data out of it in the JSON file. Then there is the next stage, which is the pre-processed big data, which is that you clean the data in terms of structuring it, since it's in a JSON file, which looks something like this. This is what the raw data looks like. Mere looking at this makes probably 0.01% of sense, and then we need to like format it in a neat way where when it is presented, it is neat and you can see what we have, and that is what we have after pre-processing it, this stage here. So that is what we have done after we pre-process the data, and then the data is stored in MySQL database. This is so because you can it will enable you to test your or improve your database skills, specifically MySQL. We're choosing all of this because we feel it's a little bit it's relevant in the industry, as well as it's easy to set up within the few days or few hours you might have to complete the challenge. And then there's the visualize, communicate, and deployment part. So all of this stage is what you will be working through this in this week's challenge. You are not required to get an API key or use the TweetP library to get the data because we are providing the data for you. Where your challenge starts from is the pre-processing the data, which is what day 1 of this week require. You are supposed to complete the starter notebook that has been provided for you, fix the code there, and then pass in the JSON file, and you must be able to provide a data frame as has been specified. You can go the extra length of trying to explore more and getting a lot of more features from the Twitter data, because as you can see, we have a lot of important features here. So depending on what you want to do, you can easily get this data. And then the next stage after you pre-process the data is to visualizing data, so to say, and then look for insights, build plots and charts that makes sense or that communicate a particular interesting thing that you found out from the data. We are using the COVID-19 data, that is how we scrape the data, so you might like investigate and see which country is saying a lot about COVID, what is the sentiment related to COVID, is it actually COVID they are talking about, which is like the topic modeling part of this challenge. And then the next stage of the challenge is for you to store the data into a MySQL database, and then when you store this CSV clean data into MySQL database, you should be able to read from that SQL database and then visualize the data again using the code you have written before, communicate insight from your visualizations, and then deploy. By deployment, we mean that you will be building a sentiment analysis, a sentiment analyzer model, as well as a topic modeling model that says that this is what is being discussed in this particular document. This is the sentiment that people have for this particular tweet, and all of that. So these are the stages and the steps to completing this week's challenge. There will be tutors to help you in case you have any questions. As I've explained earlier, this is the steps that you will take in order to complete this data engineering project. It is data engineering plus machine learning engineering plus data science kind of project, because you are getting the data from somewhere, which will like alleviate the problem of requesting the Twitter API for you. You are cleaning the JSON file and you are storing it in MySQL database. You are using from MySQL database to visualize, build models, deploy, communicate insight from it. So that is what we are doing this week. This is all of this stage, and all of this stage has in-depth explanation into them. And then as we progress into day 2, day 3, you get to know more about what this stage requires. For today, you are required to complete the 2 starter notebooks that have been provided. There is one which is the class TweetDF extractor, which will help you when you complete the starter notebook. It will help you to go from this stage to this stage. That is the idea. So this is the data that we have right now, and then after that you get this. After you pre-process it, when you complete this class, this particular class, that is what you get, this one. So you can be more creative and get a lot of other information that you need. And for the MySQL part to come in the next days. Now, this is a simple code that we have used to get the data from Twitter API. As I said earlier, we're using the Tweetbee and library to communicate with the Twitter API and then getting the data out of it. In the Twitter API, when you create a Twitter developer's account, you will get access to a consumer key, a consumer secret, access token secret, and then access token, which will be used to communicate with the Twitter data store and then get data out of it. And then we are saving the data into this file, and this is where the code is running. I'm sure as a Python developer, you are familiar with all of these things, and this is not new to you. We have created a class using a constructor function. We have a function which is provided by stream listener to get the data, and then if there's an error, we get the report, and then we are streaming it to get all of the data, particularly English data. So after running that script, this is what the JSON file looks like. This is one particular tweet. So when you send out a particular tweet, there are a lot of information that are accompanying that particular tweet, and this is what it looks like. So we have the created ads, we have the ID, we have a whole lot of other information that you can get from Twitter, particularly the text that you have sent out, and the user mention, and a lot of other stuff. And when you complete the Twitter TweetDF extractor, you get this neat, nice looking data frame that you can then visualize, store, or use to build a model. This is what most of us are familiar with, I believe. In visualization, you can do a word cloud, which is the first image that you're seeing here. This is what it looks like, what people are discussing, the most used words, and a lot of other stuff. And then you can this is a time trend, which is showing the numbers of favorite count as well as retweet count. Favorite count is the number of likes, and then retweet is the number of retweet that a particular tweet gets. You can see for a particular tweet that between 2021 March to 2021 March of 11, there's a particular tweet that has almost 35,000 likes. That's a lot of likes. So this is the kind of visualization you do, and then there's the deployment part, and that is about it for the introduction to data engineering as well as the tasks. I'll just check if there is any questions whatsoever. Let's see. Okay, if you have any questions, now will be the right time to ask them. If I've missed anything, so we should have a little bit of discussion as to what the challenge entails. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm just going to increase this. Yeah. So this is the challenge page. All right. You are required to. There's a lot of questions that have been going on. You are required to come here. From this particular repo to your own GitHub account. When you do that, you'll be able to come here and click on the copy this link and then go to Git Bash and clone it to your particular repo, to your particular local system, and then from there you can develop your code, fix the bug that you have there, and you should be able to like produce something good that will then pass in the JSON file and produce an output. This is what the starter notebook looks like, and I believe there is nothing new here. You probably have done something similar to this, and if there's anything new, there's internet for you to like ask questions, and then we are available on the Rocket chat, and you can ask your questions from there as well, and you get a proper response. So missing anything? Let me see. Let me see, where is it? Okay. Yeah, so that's about it. Let me see, I have questions. Yes, you don't need to download the data. We have provided the data for you, and it's in. You can get the data here. Where are you? The data is here. Yeah. So this is the COVID-19 JSON file that you can easily download. Once you clone it, you get it.
So Abubakar, there is a question which says that can you zoom out? Can you zoom in? Sorry. Like for the texts, but yeah, when you show your screen, I mean not this one, but just the one when you show the code.
Okay, the code. Yeah, let me just go back there. Okay. All right. Is this big enough? Can you see it now? Think? Yeah? Okay, cool. So this is what the code looks like. I believe I don't have to like, you read in the JSON file, this code has been complete for it. I mean, it's already completed, there's no error there. Pass it in, you get the data. This is the TweetDev extractor Python class that you're supposed to complete. There is the simple constructor there. These are some of the functions. We have provided the skeleton code for you. All you have to do is complete them, give them the required commands, and then they get you what you need. And then for you to get the data frame, the code has been completed for you. All you have to do is complete this functional code, run all of this, and you have the code. And then you have the clean data set, and that would, propel you to complete the rest of the challenges. If you have questions, you just ask. So this is the first part of the code that you'll be fixing, which is called the fix extra data frame. According to the steps that have been outlined, you are required to, where is it? Last one. I think I got it. Last one, yeah. So you are required to fork the repo, clean it, and do not forget to rename the files that we have given to you. So if you see the fix clean tweet data frame, you're supposed to rename it to clean data frame, because that will help you to run the unit testing that has been provided for you. Okay, and not sure. I think we still have time. Yeah. So I'll just talk about the unit testing and go back there. Unit testing. If you are making pull request to the repo, you're supposed to make the pull request to your own repo, right? Not this repo. If you have fork it and you have the code on your GitHub page, you are supposed to then make the pull request on your own clone or forked repo, not here.
Okay, maybe Abubakar is being cut the internet. Maybe let us give him just 30 seconds, and I will continue otherwise. So in the meantime, if there is anything that you are confused, I think all the challenge, the description contains everything you need to do. So even if something that's not clear here or you get confused, just go back to the challenge and see it, and also ask in the Rocket Chat. Okay, so we try to provide as much as possible all the detail necessary in the document that is shared with you. So for any confusion, always if you are in doubt, just ask in Rocket Chat. But your base reference is like the document we shared with you, which contains everything from the tasks you need to do to the tutorials that will be when, as well as also just the kind of deliverables every day. So maybe when you read it, if it's not clear, you should ask in Rocket Chat. Yeah, UL the code is just empty right now. It has only the structure and the kind of like what needs to be done. But as Abubakar was showing you, it doesn't have some codes, like some methods are empty. It has only a description, what it needs to do, the input and output, but the actual code is not there. So right now, if you run it, the code doesn't work. So you have to feel so we basically try, because we know that you have a very short time, so we try to actually help kind of give you a starter code where like you only need to implement some things, but the thinking, how to structure the code, that we have provided that so that it's easy. So it's more to accelerate, you know, it's like to accelerate the thinking such that you focus on what is important. Hope that's clear. And if you need to unmute sometimes, if your question is like too much and you want to ask, you can also unmute yourself and ask. It's just that we need to synchronize, not everyone to speak at the same time, but you can actually ask also by unmuting yourself. Is there any other question that's not clear? Like, are you well set? So by this time, what's supposed to happen is that you are kind of comfortable, and you have the challenge, you are reading it, and you kind of know clearly what you need to do next. You know, it's like, or that you already probably forked the repository, and you're probably already working on the, you know, adding kind of understanding the code and trying to add some functionality, loading the data from the data folder, and kind of, you know, if you are in that state, great. If you are not in that state, ask yourself, why are you not in that state? Is there anything that's not clear? Maybe that you can ask it. So other people might be in the same position as you, so better to ask it in Rocket Chat. So it is, Daniel, it is easier that way. The thing is, otherwise, if you fork it, if you clone it before you fork it, then you will have the kind of the repository, the remote link becomes our link, which you cannot add to it. But if you first fork it and then clone it, then it will be in your space, so you're able to easily, you know, without any issue, you can git pull and push easily. So that's why you should fork it first. Yeah, I mean, the Twitter extractor code, starter code, is the easiest one. But because you could find in many places in the internet other ways to do it, right? But what is the point? The point is that even if you get other codes, just fill it like from those ones, translate it into the one that we gave you. Why? Because then that way we know that you actually understand the code and you can actually edit the code. So it's not, it will be, all the presentations are going to be in the week folder. So just the week 0 folder that's shared with you. So which materials is that? Are Valence. So all of these tutorials materials are going to be in the folder, so you will find them. Whatever I was sharing earlier also is in the folder, and whatever Abu Bakr is showing you now, like the presentation, will be there. And of course, the codes are all. Abu Bakr, can you mute? Maybe just yeah. And then all the other, like also all the codes are in Git. So. So Abu Bakr, you can, I mean, I've been answering some questions. So if there are other questions, you can answer.
Okay, I will. Are there any other, do you guys have any questions? I think I'm going to focus out.
Unfortunately not.
Yeah.
So try, I mean, some tasks can be a lot, so just try to do as much as possible, but know that given this is a huge group and we are most likely unable, unless it's a compelling reason, like someone is whatever sick or some situations happen and something, and then, unless it's a very exceptional situation, we will not make any change to the program. So try to, whatever it is, just try to do the best you can. Yeah, go on, Abu Bakr.
I was going to. I was explaining the rubrics. I'm sorry, the Travis YAML file, and then how the Okay, let me just go back to sharing my screen.
Yeah, but the link, you can find it also in the task 1. So the task 1 contains the link to the folder, the Git folder. As I said, everything that you need is in the documentation. So it's like in the challenge description. So you should be able to find. And otherwise, some people can share also the same link in the Rocket chat, but the description contains the link.
The quiz will be about what you are expected to complete today in terms of fixing the bugs, as well as the GitHub code and the GitHub that Yabe has earlier explained to you. That's what the quiz will be about, and then it will be open for 1 hour. We'll open it in like, I think 2 hours from now, and then you see it.
Yeah, and last, the Twitter, like the code is in the Twitter. There's only a link, so it's in GitHub. So you have to clone it from GitHub. Only notebooks and other things that are in the folder, and descriptions and presentations. The actual code is in GitHub, so you will find the link. Yeah. Eliphaz, it is all grouped under the same folder. It's called week 0, and under week 0 there is called Monday. In that Monday you will find whatever is for Monday. Whatever is for all the days, it is outside. So that means the description is outside the Monday folder, but it is in week 0 under one folder.
Yeah, Vibal, it's Arun. I wanted to just jump in. It's a lot of work, but what we've seen in the past is that we are not just assessing, we're trying to give you the trainees we've seen in the past, they start learning from day 1. The tasks we're asking you to do are already useful for the world of work. So we started by saying hard work is the most important thing. It is going to be a lot of hard work. And our offer is that we're going to make you work hard so that you learn a lot very quickly. But it's not a traditional course. There's no studying for an exam and then you sit for the exam and you get a grade. There is going to have to be a lot of self-learning, self-study.
Yeah.
The raw data, we got the raw data using the 2EP library. I think my screen is sharing. So this is how we got the raw data. So we use the Drippy library after obtaining the API keys, and then we run this code for a very long time, and then the data compiles over time, and that's how we got the data. And that answers the question. You will upload your assignments in the Google Classroom. We'll make changes. All of the links that you guys have been sending earlier on is not what is required. We'll make a proper announcement on the Classroom, and then you see where you're supposed to upload your assignments, as well as the quiz link. Once it is opened, you will get a notification, and then you can attempt it.
Great. I think we can take all other discussions in
Rocket Chat.
in Rocket Chat. So yeah, thanks guys.
So if you have any other questions, just drop them on Rocket Chat.